What's up, everybody? Wait for everybody to come in. I'm going to be working on adjusting my lights. So you beautiful people, waiting for people to show up. Nobody's showing up so far. Where is everybody? Where is everybody? Oh, no. Guar's looking like it's doing good. 2 people here. Very good. Very good. More. Come on. Where are you? I know the gang's all here. Hopefully everybody can hear because I don't see anybody participating. All right, so we got 5. Let me get got the link up. So let me put this up on Facebook. Let's see, Vin and Sori Village. Live stream. Better not be my Control V. Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Post. Boop. And then we're gonna post on the village. Vin and Sori Village. We're live. Don't forget the patrons. Chat, not now. I don't want to add anybody. Not now. Posting, and then what do we need to do? Middle America, posting. Hold on, guys. I'm on the way. Don't worry. Posting to Middle America. We're live. Here you go. And then go to Patreon. And Patreon will take care of it. Patreon, log in there. Nope. That one's not working. Let me see if it works on the Safari account. I know, guys. I know. We're almost there. Don't sweat it. Patrons know we're in the house. Patreon's not logging me in either. All right. Well, this is the best we can do. What's up, Sheikh? Sheikh, you're the first to comment. I don't know where everybody else is, but you're the first to comment. So congratulations, I guess. I'm assuming more people will come in soon, inshallah. We'll see. Let me see here. Let me try to get are you a Rob Zombie fan? Yeah. I mean, look, I don't really know. I don't know if I'm a Rob Zombie fan or not. Hold on for a second, guys. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. Boom. Get more light in here. Let there be light. God said, good evening. We're in the house. Got some more light here. Let me just say I'd love to see you guys react to more Talking Heads. We did a Talking Heads show. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I hope somebody gets us to react to that. Hold on, let me see here. Select all. Hold on, guys. I'm just letting the patrons know that we're live. Richard in the house. Good evening, Richard. Leonidas in the house. What's up? What's up? Let me see here. What do? You add, make a post, fireside, and we're live. Boop. There you go. Who can see this post? Everyone. Public. Good. Publish. All right. Hi there from Australia. What's up, On the Hunt? Glad to see you. UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Objects. So there was a newscast a couple days ago with Tucker Carlson where he quoted somebody saying that there are machines that are not of this earth, that are off-world machines that were not made on this earth that were retrieved. Good evening, Cassia in the house. Celebrities in hiding because of lack of adrenochrome. They're all getting sick. I don't know what adrenochrome is. That's pretty crazy, though. All the celebrities are getting sick, just the celebrities? That's pretty crazy. Sarcast in the house. What's going on, Sarcast? Sori's off practicing her lines and trying to come up with something, so we should have something recorded for you guys in a couple days. Hunter S. Thompson takes near end of Fear and Loathing. It's from the human pineal gland. That's interesting. I'm not going to look it up if it's going to make me sick. I like how the title is the answer itself. What's an American to do? Hang out with Vin and Sori. No, I haven't seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Is that Kai? Is that like my Kai? My Kai? I'm going to change that in my phone to my Kai. Did I get what pictures? Pants? Photos? Pants, did you send me some photos? Actually, the adrenal gland. Okay. Okay. Yeah, pineal gland is Joe Rogan stuff, right? What is the American way of life? That's a very, very good question. That's a very good question that I'm not particularly certain of the answer to. So I'm not sure. Can't stay. Just wanted to say hi and bye. All right, Daniel. Appreciate it. Pony in the house. Pony of the village in the house. What's going on, Pony of the village? How you doing, sis? There's a new authorized user on my Capital One card. Hopefully that's my wife. What the F, man? We won't react in Greek, metal, search and react. I don't know what that means, brother. Kai in the house. I just discovered your channel. Been binge watching your reactions. Thank you, Sheikh. Jazakallahu khair. Or khair, sorry. Did you get my last email with my work link? I haven't checked. Thoughts on the third soldier found dead in the same base in Texas? I have no comment on that. We spent all day at the aquarium. They just opened up the new pool, 1.5 million gallon 5-pool tank. It's beautiful. Do they have is it fish in there, or are they doing it to whales and stuff? Pony. What's up, Garcia? Pants, send me those pictures again, because I'm not particularly certain what photos you're referring to, my brother. What's the clinging sound in the background? The clinging sound is one of our lamps that is moving. I don't know if there's something in it or something. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. Something is broken. Something's always broken in our house. Hey, it's my buddy BM Fan. My Marxist discipler. He's like the Marxist master. He's the one that answers all my Marxist questions. Will you ever be reacting to 70s soul? Dude, Jay, I just literally got out of practice right now with Sori. So me and Sori have been practicing, and she's been getting her cadences right with her parts of the song, like getting in rhythm and catching the loops and all that stuff. So we just got done doing that, and then I went up to do this, and she drove off to continue to write. So Sori's putting in the work, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas in July or not? Christmas in July is coming very, 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 very soon. Holy shit. Yo! You guys can't see it right now, but my main man, Captain Pants, just texted me it's a recording studio that is littered with Pantera stuff. Like, this dude worked for I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. He worked for Pantera. And so now my friend is working with them. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say, but there you go. Unbelievable. Great old one in the house. Any names that begin with V? Yes, there are names that begin with V. Vera. I think one of my great aunts, her name is Vera. So, yes. Conjunction, junction. What's your function? What does chi mean in Greek? Chi is a conjunctive word in Greek. Chi that is used very frequently in the New Testament. And so, or just in Greek as a whole, it's like the most used word in Greek, I think. And it's just a conjunction. It can mean even, it can mean since, it can mean because, a lot of that stuff. Who do you think Ghislaine Maxwell has dirt on? Everybody and their mother. I'm starting to be very, very suspicious of Mr. Trump because Mr. Trump said that he wishes her well. And I've never heard him say something like that before. So I don't know. And I'm not one of these people that looks for the worst possible interpretation of the things that Trump says, but it is very bizarre. I have to tell you that. It's very bizarre. I noticed one of the newest comment on that Portland vid named himself after a British politician that made a deeply incendiary racist speech saying immigrants needed to be sent home. Yeah, man. I got to tell you, I'm extremely surprised at the reaction to the Portland video. Me personally, I like conflict and I like people disagreeing, but I was very, very, very surprised at that, to say the least. Vincent is a name with a V. Victor. Vinny, do you think Trump is part of the deep state? I thought that the deep state was people within the Trump administration that are against Trump, that are like working from within to try to destroy him. That's what I thought the deep state was. Am I wrong? You guys over there seem to be shit out of your options for your next president. We don't seem to be. We're out of options. We're doomed. We're doomed. That's who she has dirt on. Corona happened for a reason. Valerie or Valhalla. You know what? If we had a girl, there would definitely be some Norse connection to her name somehow, some way. If we had a girl. Inshallah, the next one is going to be a girl. So there you go. What's popping? Nothing much, Loco Danny. Nothing much. Just hanging out with my friends. I wanted to do a fireside last night, and the family situation popped up as they always do. So this time I wasn't gonna let anything come between us. So you don't know the gender yet? No, it's a boy. We announced it was a boy on the show. You dumb butt. Larry in the house. Sup, dude? Hello from Sweden. What's up, Mr. Swedish person? Hey, seeing as how we've got like 3/5 of the band here, are you guys good with me popping the first 34 seconds that Sarcast did up on Patreon? Are we good with that, Jay Sarcast? Great. Oh, a small bit of money so you and Sori can have cable for entertainment. Thank you, great old one. We're being pretty frugal now because they're saving up for a down payment on this house. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Sorry for not following every word and knowing every detail about your family. Don't worry about that, you loser. All you have to do, are we appropriating Viking culture? Yes, stud man, because we're the original man, so they probably stole it from us somehow. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Bat soup is BS. Corona and the vaccine were patented back in 2016. The address for the Wuhan lab is 666 GR Road. Not kidding you. Whoa. We've got a bunch of packages, Cassio. We're doing a Christmas in July in a day or two, so we'll see. Larry in the house. Will you actually cast a vote for Biden, or you just won't vote? I'm not voting. I can't vote for Biden. I can't do it. I can't vote for Trump, but I cannot vote for Biden. I can't do it. I'm not one of these blue no matter who and anybody's better than Trump guys. I'm not one of those people. Make that 4/5, Vin. Okay, so Saiyan Fallen Saiyan. Are you good with us putting up that remember that first 34-second thingamajiggy that Sarcastic? Maybe we can add your baseline in there for the first 34 seconds. We can put it up on Patreon as like a sneak peek type of thing. I think, guys, that we're about 35% done with the song. I think Sori's out right now practicing, working on her vocal style and all the rest of it. So there you go. What do you do if you don't want to vote for either one? I'm probably going to vote. I'm probably going to write in Bernie. But I cannot vote for Biden. Can't do it. The virus is a way to distract us from all the pedophilia happening in Hollywood and our Democratic leaders. Jordan, I think you're overestimating the American people. I don't believe that there would be a massive outcry in America if the Ghislaine Maxwell thing or the Epstein thing was center stage in the news. All of us knew that Epstein was doing this to these girls, at least for the last 2 years, and business just went around like usual. So I don't think that Corona would be necessary to make the American people just shrug their shoulders in apathy and keep moving. If it's one thing about America is we don't care about children. That's obvious. How will you announce the song on Patreon, reveal the band name, and also the song name? No, because I haven't come up with the song name. We've come up with the band name, but not the song name. So I'm just going to say a super secret sneak peek from our super secret sneaky band. That'll be the title. And then I'll put it on there, inshallah. I'm voting for Biden, even though I really, really don't want to. And I'm definitely not a vote blue no matter who person. Trump is a fascist. We need to get him out. I hear you. I hear you. I understand that. I have no judgments for anybody that votes either way. Michael says, can I fight you? I mean, you could, Michael, but I'm a pacifist, so you're not going to get much resistance from your brother. Haha, approved. Song name will come with source lyrics eventually. Inshallah, inshallah. I sent a video of my dad to your messenger. No way! What's wrong with Trump? What's wrong with Trump is that he just deployed federal troops to shove American citizens in with no warrants into unmarked vans, and then he detains them, and then he releases them hours later after it's come to light that those individuals did nothing wrong. And it would actually be better if these people were actually officially arrested, because then we'd have a trail of who these offending officers are. But as it stands currently, a lot of these guys aren't even being officially arrested. So that's what's wrong with Trump. That's extremely dangerous. Counseling helps me with my dark energies, urges. Well, that's good. James McClellan in the house. What's up? I got my ass kicked in BJJ last week by a guy who looked like a cross between Woogie and something about marrying an old Donald Sutherland. Well, those older guys, man, those like older guys who are like purple belts, man, they'll give it to you. Forget about it. And that's the thing about jiu-jitsu, man, is that it really, really is chess. Like, unless you've done BJJ, you really cannot understand how subtle and chess-like every movement is from a guy who knows what the hell he's doing. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Member states' rights, I'm not sure what happened to that, but it doesn't exist with Trump as president. Well, yeah, it's unbelievable stuff. I mean, that's one thing that's wrong with Trump. There's a long list. I've been drinking since 4 p.m. Forgive me if I'm not entirely coherent. Tiwa's in the house. You think that Trump is fascist for using DHS to round up terrorists? Local governments aren't protecting their citizens, which means that stand your ground is the only option against Antifa's actions. Tiwa's my brother. As I said to you earlier, or as I said earlier, the people being rounded up are not only Antifa terrorists. That's one. It's very curious to me that Antifa gets labeled a terrorist group, but the KKK, to my understanding, is still not. And the body count between Antifa and the KKK are not even close. And secondly, as I said earlier, these people are getting shoved into unmarked vehicles, not being arrested, so we can't have an official paper trail on who the arresting officers are. And a lot of these people are being released after. That is not, that's a problem. On top of that, unless the situation is massively severe, states' rights should come into play. And the state of Oregon has decided that they're not going to utilize these tactics with their constituency, and the president should respect that unless there is extreme potential for harm to the life and well-being of the local citizens there, and that's just not the case. You're safer on the streets of Portland than you would be on a highway. Those are just facts. So there you go. How many songs have you reacted to that you lied and said you've never heard before? We never do that. We never say that we never heard of a song before that we haven't done. For me, it's kind of funny because when people, I grew up on Biggie Smalls, Mace, that type of thing. So there are certain KRS-One, things like that. Like if a bunch of white people started doing a reaction channel and they listen to like KRS-One and they'd be like, oh, this is the first time I've heard this song. I'd be like, no, come on. Everybody's heard that song. Most of y'all don't even know who KRS-One is. It's just a cultural thing. And people in certain cultures cannot believe that the artists that define their culture aren't universal, but they're not. Sorry. Although, which, any song I listen to from Korn, aside from the new Korn record I've listened to, I've memorized. I know every single guitar track and everything about a Korn song, unless it's from the Nothing record. But other than that, I mean, sometimes like there was a song that we recorded, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, where the riff was very, very, very familiar to me. But we had MTV and BET running in the house the whole time back in the day. So I don't know. About Corona, it's funny that every country thinks the virus is just about them. The U.S. could have handled the virus very differently while it was already lethal in China and Southern Europe. 100%. I 100% agree with you, Sarcast. 100,000%. It's not even close. I think just this week, Trump has finally decided to admit that wearing a mask is healthy and appropriate or something like that. So we listened to a German band, Oscar, today. I don't know if Sori's going to actually release it, but we did listen to a German band today, and it was interesting. I'll say it that way. Well, you know what? Let me say it this way. It wasn't like the song wasn't bad, but the album art was horrific. So, yeah. Trump is being forced to take federal action because the mayors and the governors are relying on unrestrained violence and destruction. Okay, JRS, tell me how many people have died in Portland. How many people have died in Portland as a result of these unrestrained violence and destructive behaviors? What's up, Kamikaze? Trump said it's patriotic to wear a mask if you can't social distance. Did they sing in English or German? They sang in German, and then we had the English translation up. It's a very interesting band. We're going to do what do you think of the lead guitarist and Lamb of God? The lead guitarist and Lamb of God is one of my influences on guitar that I try to steal from. And it's obvious. You'll hear it. You'll hear it in the thingy. In the little 30-second clip, if you're on Patreon, that I just got permission from the band to post. I love him. I love his style. I love what he's done with metal. I think he's probably like one of the most best songwriters instrumentally in the world, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm tempted to drive to Portland and do a live stream of these violent protests. Yeah, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. The justification for using federal, and again, federal troops, not only just pissing all over the states' rights, but also shoving people into unmarked vehicles, not arresting them, detaining them so as to intimidate them, and then releasing them back out into the community after they've committed no crimes, and then everybody's just supposed to go along like that's okay. I don't understand how any American, especially any right-wing, freedom-loving, gun-toting, flag-pledging, non-kneel. I don't know how anybody could say that that's okay. Would you put any stock in the rumor that Antifa and BLM have received funding and theoretical training from the Chinese consulate in Houston? I know for a fact, particularly as regards to Houston, that there are some bad players in Houston. And so as such, that wouldn't surprise me. But keep in mind, T-Wise, we're talking about a country of 320 million people. I have attempted to work with BLM locally. And they're the most disorganized, silly, ADHD group of people. I'm talking about the leadership now. I'm talking about being able to convert energy into actual social pressure that would then convert into actual policy that would be beneficial for us. And they're absolutely incompetent in that regard. So T-Waz, if you understood the inner machinations of this group, if you've ever been to one of these meetings, you would know in the first 5 minutes that these people are not capable of what all these conspiracy theorists are trying to attach to them. It's not even close. So yeah. Would you say the same if this happened on your street? If what happened on my street? Now, I've made it clear that I'm not a fan of Antifa in any way, shape, or form. But that does not justify federal agents coming in and quasi-black siding people. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible precedence to set. Good God. Looking in from the outside, those naked protester ladies somehow totally overwhelming all the tough guys was inspiring. Yeah, I bet it was inspiring. I didn't look at that video because I'm trying to stay married, but I'm sure it was. Why would you not admit that Jimmy Page is the greatest guitarist ever? I don't. I haven't heard much from Jimmy Page yet, so that's why. If I do, right now for me, it's Head from Korn, Dime, and then Tony Iommi every single time. I listen to something from like 1968 in one of these reviews, and I recognize in his riffage like stuff that I listened to, when I first got into nu metal in 2000. I'm just blown away by the guy. I'm completely blown away by what this guy was able to do to single-handedly. The guy, in my opinion, Tony, he literally created like 7 or 8 genres of music. It's unbelievable stuff. So I'm not mad at Jimmy Page. I just haven't been able to listen to enough of his catalog to figure it out yet. I wanted to talk more with you on the transition. No, but I will give you a call saying if you can hit me up in the thingy and tell me what time is your cutoff time for having discussions, because you guys know I'm up till 7, 8, 9, 10 in the morning. Patriotism is a virtue of the vicious. Woo! That's pretty crazy. Well, if you can't look at her now, I understand why the troops don't get to do so either. Prudishness is bigger than anything in America. Inshallah. Oh, man. For a month, cities across our country have been terrorized, burned, and vandalized. Where were the mayors and governors? How many of them were supporting the chaos? JRS, please show me the entire cities that have been burned down. Show me these cities that have been, entire cities have been burned, vandalized, and terrorized. And furthermore, why isn't our president directing his energies to the situation that created the civil unrest instead of defaulting to jackbooted Gestapo tactics that are obviously un-American? Why doesn't he go and address those things? And what has he done to try to initiate any sort of national reconciliation or healing? It's all just the iron fist stuff. And again, I cannot believe that people on the right, not all people, but people on the right are defending this type of stuff. If Barack Hussein Obama would have done this to the Tea Partiers, you guys would have been going crazy. As a matter of fact, we saw what happened when the Bureau of Land Management went after the Bundy guys. They took up weapons, and then you had militias from all over the place showing up and pointing their rifles at federal agents, and that was celebrated. So I don't understand this stuff from y'all. It's hard to draw the line between true patriotism and nationalism. Ain't that the truth? Thank you for pronouncing Gestapo correct. Ben Shapiro wasn't able to. Two of my kids are massive Ben Shapiro fans. So they're actually working right now on a presentation about Ben Shapiro, trying to get extra credit for school, which school is out. But this is what happens when you homeschool these kids. They never stop learning. So now they're putting together a PowerPoint for their Ben Shapiro stuff. So that should be interesting. Did you see the vid of the ex-Navy SEAL taking a baton beating like a champ and then walking off, flipping them up? Yeah, they broke his hand in 2 places. They maced brother. Yeah, it was crazy. These people are insane. Tim Pool is a bit out there on his takes, but sometimes the people there have some good discussions and alternative views on the MSM saying, some of which can be beneficial to ponder. I agree, T-Waz. I listen to everybody. Now, Rising has sort of replaced Tim Pool for me, but that's okay. I always liked Tim Pool. So, there you go. Ex-Navy SEALs, almost as annoying as the active ones. No comment, man. No comment. But I'll just say I feel your pain. As someone who has corona right now, I can tell you it is not fake. Yeah, I lost a very close friend of mine, a guy that I used to look after and make sure he was okay because he was about 10 years younger than me. I lost him last week. So I know people like conspiracy theories are fun and things like that, man, but I'm coming up to losing 10 people in total to this corona stuff. So, and then not being able to go to my baby's ultrasound and all the rest of it because of the, sure, everything's a hoax, I guess. Maybe Lee Ben really is alive. I don't know. Hey, Zombie Holic, I appreciate it. Jeez, I'm 275. Prayers for you, buddy. I can't even begin to with how utterly wrong and stupid this is. I'm impressed. Please pray for South Texas. We're getting hit by a hurricane right now. Whoa. You ever watch Vosh? He has some good takes politically. Yeah. BM fan hit me up with some Vosh when he was talking about what's going on in Portland. Please react to Up North, Borknagar. Borknagar is actually a band I have listened to. I know an entire Borknagar record inside and out because it's literally been in my car for the last year and a half. It's like everywhere I go. Me and Sori take these long road trips, and that's all. My Domain is my favorite Borknagar song. And whenever I get a chance to do a freebie for just me and Sori, it's going to be My Domain from Borknagar because that's my favorite song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah. My oldest and my youngest just discovered Ben Shapiro, so now they're all together doing the craziness. $135,000 babies are aborted in this country every day. Corona isn't shit. Coronavirus has existed before. Now it's not new. Well, as a person who's actually put in work for the pro-life movement, outlaw, or the abolitionist movement, I know how many babies are dying a year, but that does not negate the fact that there are other groups of human beings that are also dying in a manner that is not the norm. We've lost, I think we're at 143,000 deaths in America in a 6 to 8 month period. That's not normal. That's not common. So I don't know what point you're making by bringing up the fact that we're up to, I'm sorry, I lied. We're up to 149,000 deaths. We had 1,100 deaths last night or yesterday. So I don't understand what the point is of saying that. I don't get it. Why the hell do people think coronavirus is fake? People are dying. First, the elderly being affected. Now, younger people, very scary. Yeah, I mean, just my luck. My 25-year-old friend. You know, I was actually speaking of BLM. I was talking to one of the BLM organizers, whatever, and I'm like racking her brain to try to get her to get people focused instead of doing all the rah-rah stuff. And then she posts this GoFundMe thing. And I was, saying, oh, the typical sorry for your loss. And then I look at the picture and I look at the name and I'm like, holy shit. And at the time I was like, no, that can't be him. That can't be him. And then I messaged her. She didn't respond to me. And then I'm reviewing a video. And then I get the message from her in real time that it was the guy that, So that was a tough one. So I don't understand. I don't understand this stuff. But it's that thing where what's his face? The crazy Alex Jones. Where he couldn't draw the line, and he started talking about how Parkland and now all these other school shootings didn't really happen because it's all part of his little shtick, and he has no consideration for the fact that he's dealing with actual parents who've lost their actual children. So I think some of that is happening right now. The COVID death count isn't a certain number of scenes. There's multiple cases that aren't COVID-related that are being called coronavirus deaths. Sure. And there are also coronavirus deaths that are not being recorded as coronavirus deaths, especially at the beginning. That's happening too. I'm fairly fit adult, so I'm not terribly concerned about COVID killing me, but I am concerned that I could accidentally kill somebody's parents by being careless. Agreed. I'm the same way. I'm in the exact same situation you are, for sure. Car crashes kill more people a year than COVID. No one's stopping that. Yes, they are. That's why they have speed limits in your county, Jeremiah. And that's why if you're driving erratically and the police pull you over and your blood alcohol content is above the legal limit, they will arrest you. So there are things that there are even some states, whether you agree or disagree with it, that will lock you up or give you a citation for not having a seatbelt on. So there are things people are doing to mitigate the deaths by traffic accidents. So I don't understand this logic. Because other people are dying in other circumstances, we should not mitigate the deaths that could happen via COVID. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that type of logic. Yes, I did. And it seems to me, I love Jordan Peterson very dearly, but it seems to me that Brother Peterson doesn't have a complete grasp on Marxism that is separate from Solzhenitsyn's understanding of the world and the effect of Marxism on the world is what it seems like to me. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't keep you safe. Well, yes, getting drunk drivers off the road actually does keep us safe. If you're saying, is it a guarantee? No. But nobody who's advocating for social distancing and masking is asking for a guarantee. People are just looking at these things as common sense restrictions so as to mitigate the effects of COVID. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm 36 years old and I haven't been able to see my daughter in 3 weeks because I'm sick. Terrible. Have you seen his latest vid and what the man has endured because of? No, I haven't seen it yet. But text me the link because I'd like to. I'd like to see it. Have you checked out last year's flu's death stats? Yes, I have, James Marshall. What about them? It was 34,200 deaths. That's how many people died of the flu last year. It was 34,200, and that was for an entire year between the 2018-2019 influenza season. From December 2019 to current, we have had 149,000 deaths to COVID. That's almost more than 3 or 4 times the amount that have died of the flu in less time, in about 3 or 4 months less time. So, yes, I have seen it. Why weren't we wearing masks? Well, I just explained it to you, James. The total flu deaths were 4 times less than the total amount of COVID deaths in 4 less months. That's why. Says who? Well, you brought it up, brother. Says the CDC. Here's the link. 2018, 2019. CDC has it for that data for the last 7 or 8 years. So there you go. There's the link. Do what you will with it. Vin, you can't argue with James. He's a non-mask wearer. Republicans are anti-science trash. Spit on James. No, we're not going to spit on James, Ben. Please be respectful to everybody here. The real patriotism is accepting mediocrity and not caring about how many of your fellow countrymen died to a pandemic. Right, Perkinos. Right, exactly. The same group of people that were telling unarmed black people, hey, if you guys just follow the law and just follow the instructions of the authorities, and you guys won't be dying on the side of the street, are the same people that cannot for the life of me follow not even a government mandate, but a government strong suggestion to wear a mask and protect their fellow Americans. It's unbelievable stuff. I don't know what to say. Republicans aren't even humans. They don't deserve respect. You're wrong. America needs to take a lesson from Sweden. I agree with you. I agree. America does need to take a lesson from Sweden. And I think that that's a very important topic. Here's the lesson that America needs to take from Sweden. Okay. They have become a cautionary tale. And the cautionary tale is they've got a per capita death rate that is 30% higher than America's death rate. That's Sweden. Sweden was like, we're going to do the whole herd immunity thing. Remember that? And what they accomplished was 30% higher per capita death rate than the United States. So there's that. Hey, Vin, sorry I'm late to the party. How's it going? It's going wonderful. I didn't like Vin until now. Stand by, Michael. You'll dislike me again very shortly, I'm sure. Well, James, that's why I said per capita, right? That's why we said per capita, because Sweden is vastly smaller than America. So I said 30% per capita more deaths Sweden has. Is Sori joining you at some point? Sori is out working on music, so I don't think she's going to be joining me until much later, inshallah. There is a new strain of swine flu developing in China, potentially more virulent than the previous one. Yeah, I'm very, very. Here's one thing I do agree with Trump is that we do need to recognize that this originated in China. It is very important for people to recognize that. And that's as much as I'll say. And I think the other thing that people need to recognize is if you look at the timeline from the last major event we had with China in the months leading up to the outbreak of COVID, I think that that's something that's very important for people to keep in their consciousness. Have you heard of the study that 50% of the COVID patients that developed antibodies lost them again, so no herd immunity? I'm not sure. I haven't heard that before. Just saw a picture of celebrations in Chicago for tearing down the Christopher Columbus statues, and almost none were wearing masks. I doubt any of them were Republicans. Fake patriots won't make it wear a mask. I'm surprised I'm still here, Vin. Sweden has actually handled this worse than we have. I love their welfare state, but in terms of handling pandemic, I'd rather look to Taiwan or South Korea or Japan. I agree. Then the cases in Sweden are practically non-existent now. Where are you getting that information from, Brian James? Where are you getting that? Who told you that the cases in Sweden are practically non-existent? Who told you that? Because I'm looking at this linear scale here that goes from July, from February to July, and it's on a complete incline every single month. It's just starting to flatten from 25 July. So what are you looking at that's saying that? Here's Salon.com. Sweden's sobering corona death toll bodes ill for the laissez-faire pandemic approach. CBS, grim coronavirus death toll projected in Sweden after lax approach to pandemic. July 3rd, lack of lockdown increased COVID deaths in Sweden. So I don't know where we're getting that Sweden is a success story. Where are you getting that from? Thanks, Samuel. Then coronavirus was found in sewage water from samples from March 2019, which were taken in Barcelona, not China. I understand that. I still think we need to keep China in our consciousness. Sweden is among the top 10 in deaths. I don't understand this stuff. I mean it's right there. Sweden's in the top 10. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're number 6 out of 10. Their 14-day cumulative number of COVID-19 deaths per 100 is per 100,000 is actually worse than America. We're at 1.5. They're at 1.7. As a matter of fact, they're the highest on this list. So I just don't understand this stuff. I don't know where people are coming from with this understanding. It's right there. Herd immunity was the original plan of Boris Johnson. When he got a lot of pushback, the Tories decided to not call it herd immunity anymore because it instead lowered the distance measure until it's the same thing. Just like Sweden is being lied to about Trump in America, they're only fed liberal media news and not the truth. Okay. Brian, tell us what your sources are. Have you heard some of the stories in Sweden about the doctors being told to do palliative morphine treatments for older patients instead of attempting to save them? No, I haven't heard of it, but I'm sure it's happening. These hospitals do not have an infinite supplies for housing and taking care of people. So when you get flooded with these types of situations, these horrible eventualities happen. It's terrible, but my friend is a psychologist in Gothenburg, and everything is normal there. What does that have to do with the actual data, though? Right? Because I'm looking at the data, Brian. R.I.P. Regis. Vin is reading from the European Center of Disease Prevention and Control. I mean, look, if you believe that institutions like this that are tracking this stuff, if you believe that you could just dismiss what they have to say, then what you've done is you've created a heuristic in which you will never be convinced, because there's nothing that will convince you if you believe that you know more about this stuff than they do. The data is a lie. All right. The data is a lie. All right. I homeschool my kids, Studman. So it's not a concern of mine, but of course not. I wouldn't send my kids back to public school if I was doing public school. No way. I'm sure the Swedes are good, Brian, at certain things, but all the actual data that I can look at is telling me that they dropped the ball on this one. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Is my 7 Dust review coming soon? What's the name of the song? Sori usually handles that, so I'm not particularly certain. Sori just gave me an update. She said she has a sore throat, and I was like, "No, you've got COVID," but it's because she's doing her vocals. She's practicing her vocals. Is homeschooling your kids how they turned out so black? Well, it might have to do with why they're fans of Ben Shapiro now all of a sudden. Right, Amy Lee, everything's a lie. More Iron Main's review. What's the problem with your local public schools, Vin? What do you mean my local public schools? What are you talking about? Dude, I could never do what you're doing. I would rage quit. You're a very patient man. Yes, I'm a very patient man. That's good, T-Waz. I'm glad. Do the kids like Jordan Peterson? I haven't really exposed them to a lot of Jordan Peterson. I said my girlfriend of 7 months lives in Gothenburg. She tells me every day how America lies about everything that is about the situation in Sweden. But Brian, the link that I just read from and that I posted is not from America. It's from Europe. It's the ECDC.Europa. That's not America. Those stats were not American stats, my brother. I've been homeschooling my kids since the beginning. I've never put my kids in public school. I believe it's my job as a parent to educate my children. I got taken out of public school in the 8th grade. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got my GED, went to college, and did far better without the public system. Yeah, the public system just is not for me or my children. It's just not, and it's just not something I've ever even considered. I've never even considered putting my kids in public education. Shane, are you in this room? Shane, are you in this room? Whoa, Donald. Thank you very much, my guy. I appreciate it. Brother from another mother. Maybe our band can open for your band. That would be like the most meta village moment of all time if our band opened up for Donald's band. Legit. Are you planning on touring? Maybe I'm jumping the gun here. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here. But Donald, that would be a really cool thing. But Shane, if you're here, let me know. God bless you for homeschooling the kids. I mean, it really is easy, to be honest with you. This is actually good. Tell Sori to drink hot tea with a good amount of honey to help loosen up her throat and vocal cords. No, I haven't seen your email about residential schooling in Canada. What about it? I don't have kids. However, I do public education before homeschooling. I would also help educate on the side, though. I don't want any kids. Not in America, anyway. There must be something that you disagree with public school policies that are no for you, Vin and Sori. Well, I mean, I'm a big believer in worldview. And so, you know, having black children in America, putting them in the public education system is not the worldview that I want for them. Obviously, being Christians and putting them in a secular institution is not something that makes sense to me either. And so for those two primary reasons, I would be against public school for me and my family. What was the most disturbing song you've heard? Most disturbing song I've heard. There was a pretty disturbing song that we heard a week and a half ago, but for some reason I cannot remember what the name of the song, but it was pretty freaking disturbing to me. There was another song that I listened to. Sori didn't listen to it. I forgot what I was searching on the internet, but I found this list of like the 10 most scariest, disturbing songs of all time. And the song that ranked #1, I listened to it. It was very disturbing, but I don't know if it was actually disturbing or if it was because the list hyped it up so much that it became like the most disturbing song of all time. So I don't know. It explains why mom and auntie abused me and why I became a predator as well. What does? Great old one. What explains that? Is it a song? The residential schooling in Canada was extremely sad. What happens? What is residential schooling? Oh, it was Linga Ignota. Yes, that one about the serial killer lady. Yeah. That was the most disturbing song I ever heard in my life. And I'm literally never going to listen to it again. Ever. Ever. JP is very complex in his approach and language. Other than Ben Shapiro owning people in debates and humiliating, JP is pretty mature in addressing a mature audience. Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult to undo a person in today's political discourse because most people are not educated with actual data. So, you know, the Ben Shapiro stuff doesn't really impress me. A lot of people would assume about me that I like Ben Shapiro, but I don't. And the other thing is, I don't really consider what Ben Shapiro does to be debates either. Debates are, in my mind, opening statements, rebuttals, cross-examination, and then closing statements. That's an actual debate. What happens on TV in a 3 or 4 minute clip or what he does in colleges or whatever with people, that doesn't really, it's not really, I don't know. It's not very impressive to me. It was the abuse of natives. Yikes. Yikes. Indigenous children are taken from their families. Holy crap. That's happening in Canada still? Guys, we just watched this movie yesterday. It was called Apocalyptica. It's written by, thank you very much, Zombie Holic. It was written by, what's up, G-San? It was written by, not written by Mel Gibson, but it was directed by Mel Gibson. Whew! Holy crap! What a horrible movie. It was great, but it was Dorian and Sailor are very much impressed by Ben Shapiro. Good for. I tell the kids, like, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with that political kind of way of the view of the world, but I'm very glad that you guys are engaged and that you guys are, they're doing that on their own. Like, that's not something that we're like pressuring them to do. So I think it's pretty cool that a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old in their free time during summer vacation are looking at that stuff, really digging into it, making arguments, and now they're making they're doing a report as we speak on it. I'm pretty proud. Very, very proud of them. What's going on, M Death fan? Long time no see, Bumblebee. Only a decade or so ago. Phew. Holy moly. Do you think your kids enjoy and watch Ben Shapiro because they believe in he is the same age as they are? I think it is probably, the whole teenage rebellion, like their dad doesn't like Ben Shapiro, so they're going to go and like, Ben Shapiro, whatever. But I think it's just really cool. Has it occurred to you that Dorian is an idiot? No, I think Dorian is probably the most intelligent person I've ever met in my life. I love Ben so much. There's literally nothing Ben could say to me. Great old residential school in somewhat ended in the 1960s. The last residential school was closed in the 90s. Okay, Brian, brother, listen. Here is the ECDC in Europe, okay? Click on that, look at the data, and then come back to me and tell me that Sweden's doing okay. Or if you have alternate data, send me to the data and I'll check it out. Regis died. He did, Sheikh. He did. He died at the age of 88. He had a good run. And now he's at the Ain Sof, inshallah. Apocalyptico was historically a mess. Was it, Anton? What were some of the historical inaccuracies? I hope it was inaccurate because, good Lord, that stuff that I saw, it was terrible. It was heartbreaking stuff, man. Human beings, man's inhumanity to man is just, it's a killer. Guy on Twitter was saying he's a Christian and an atheist. He doesn't believe in God, but is a Christian. I don't understand how that works. I just said there were only 82 cases yesterday. Google it. Okay, Brian, what I want is some actual data, right? So, like, I gave you the ECDC in Europa, and Sweden is 6 out of the top. I mean, it's more than the top 10, but they're ranked 6 in COVID deaths. So, what are we talking about here? What is the name of Sori's band, Vin? That is a super secret. That's a super secret, so I'm not sure. Zombie Hog, the residential school resulted in abuse, sexual abuse as well. Great old once sent you an email regarding the whole subject and his experience with abuse. She's a whistle. Christian atheism is usually those who like Christian morality, but don't believe in a God. Not into it myself, but there are folks. Oh, okay. So like you're trying. Hey, Zonia in the house. So like you're trying to live like the Jesus morality, the Sermon on the Mount stuff, but you're an atheist. I get it. To be fair, there's a growing contingent of atheists Christianity. It's very interesting. Their philosophy so far, as I can tell, is that they don't believe in a God, but admire and follow Jesus' teaching. Okay. I'm the opposite. I believe in the Christian God, but I can't stand the morality. Someone just donated 100 to you, Vin. Yeah, was that Donald, the big homie? Yeah. That's my guy. It's my guy, Don. Christian morality is an oxymoron. Jesus was pretty awesome. Hey, Vin, why have you only listened to Amon Amarth once? Do you legit feel you are smarter than Sori? Well, I mean, I think that I've had different experiences than her. You know, like, for example, when we're searching for a house, I don't know anything about that. So I'll say, hey, what's this? What's this? What's that? Because I know that that's what she specializes in. There are other things that I specialize in and have experiences that she asked me about. So it's just different. If you have different understandings of things, and you know, we work off of each other on that. In the channel, especially when you're waxing philosophical, or you're talking about literature or things like that, you know, that's something that, you know, I've done my entire life. But if the channel was about reviewing, you know, lumber and how to install this or that, I'm completely useless. She would have all the, you know, whatever. Kind of like Thomas Jefferson in his Bible. Pretty much Donald. Yeah, Jefferson Bible. He took out all the supernatural stuff, but left all the morality in there. Pretty much, that's the idea. Are you familiar with Christian animism? Yes. The data you refer to happened in one day in a Stockholm nursing home. How do you know that, Brian? Where are you getting that from? And I doubt very highly, because they're talking about 1,665,802 cases. I don't think that all happened in one day in a nursing home. You're talking about 78,997 cases according to this report. You're saying all 78,995 cases, Brian, was in one day at a nursing home? That's a pretty big nursing home for Sweden, Brian. Do you know Christian Science? Yes. To be fair, a lot of Christian culture was taken from other religious cultures. Like what, Stoudman? Who is your favorite mythological character? And guaranteed Bedweb says God. So, Brian, are you familiar with the report that we're talking about? Everyone knows that nursing homes are like Klaus Concars, although they can pack a lot of people in there. Yeah. What about a simple choice between power and love? Does that not cancel out all religious dogma? I don't see how it could, but if you could explain that to me a little bit more, I might agree with you. Christian Science killed James Hetfield's mom. That's what I heard. Teach them base, but only if they want to. Okay. All right. That's cool, Brian. My thing is, everybody knows me. Everybody knows high function. I like reports. I like data. I like hearing from experts in a given field. That's me. So by all means, brother, if you can find some data from qualified experts that can validate what you're saying, I'd love to see it.
But if not, shut the fuck up.
Brian is actually right. Florida registered 12,000 new cases yesterday, while Sweden registered 82 new cases yesterday. Check World meters. T-Waz, I wasn't talking about what happened in a day. What I'm talking about is what happened from when all of us became conscious of COVID in late December of 2019 to present, and the ramifications of Sweden's "we're going to do herd immunity" experiment, and what that has resulted in their overall deaths since this started. Per capita, they're at a 30% rate higher than the United States of America. That's what I was talking about. I'm not talking about one day now. There is a character that I've just become acquainted with. I'm not going to name the fictional character because Ben Webb's in the room, and Ben Webb has probably read this epic, and so I'm not going to say. I'll say it afterwards after I'm done. Did Sori come in swearing like a sailor? Well, Sori came in. I didn't know if she was swearing like a sailor or not, but she came in with her Burger King and her laptop working on lyrics and stuff. So I don't know. The new Hawken album arrived. There you go. The Christmas tree originated in 16th century Germany, which at that point was thoroughly Christian. Do you like oranges? I love oranges. Epic. Is it Gilgamesh? No, it's not Gilgamesh. But it's a really, really awesome that I'm really enthralled in. And it's really cool because Sori's actually into it, so we can listen to it together, which is always fun. I like doing books and stuff with Sori and listening to stuff. It's pretty cool. The only thing I can give you guys is relationship advice, man, is find somebody that's that is your actual genuine friend. Now, it doesn't have to be your best friend, although Sori literally is my best friend, but it's really, really cool to have somebody that it's like your friend that you can share the stuff with. Why is the act of peeling an orange on the inside so disgusting? I love Jesus. How can someone not? I know, Lori. I don't know. I don't know how anybody couldn't love Jesus. Did Sori watch Poltergeist yet? My favorite mythical being is Jesus. What is your favorite vegetable? Corn, obviously, Tony Stark. Corn. Vinominin. I don't know how to pronounce that, Kai, but I'm sure that's pretty awesome. Another interesting thing about Sweden, not a single case of a recovered person, while 2 million recovered in the United States. There's it again. That's worldometers, by the way. Tiwa's worldometer says not a single Swedish person has recovered. So if you get COVID in Sweden, you're done. Is power defined by control, love defined by acceptance? I think power is defined by the inability to resist. And love is probably the same. Stank, not Stark, Vin. Okay. All right. Jesus is coming soon, inshallah. I don't believe Jesus is coming soon, but that would be great if he did. To fall on someone who's your best friend is a dream. However, for some reason, a dream is appropriate. For some, dream is the appropriate word choice. I'm giving up on relationships unless I get my folded fitted sheets. I might consider it then. Stop it, Cassia. You with your multitude of talent, your beautiful personality, your freaking poetic genius. Trillions and trillions of people be at the door. Where's Cassia? I have to fend him off with a stick. The thing is, I'm so radical that it's actually hard to find someone who I'd want to spend the rest of my life with. Do you know how few Americans believe America should be completely destroyed? Find yourself an Antifa, cutie, Ben. Vin, did you watch Capitalism versus Socialism rap battle? No. I would watch it right now, but they would lock up my thingamajiggy and take all of the thingy. Jesus, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be short. Ben and Zonia have the most blasphemous statements, but I don't know. For some reason, it never strikes me as blasphemous when it comes from them. Luck is the best way to get a soulmate. Man, I don't know. You know, I remember walking into that Bible study. Sori was the most beautiful, like passionate, crazy person that I'd seen in a long, long, long time. Just very lucky. I'm a very lucky young man, that's for sure. America's biggest export is terrorism. Oh, it hurts to read that, but hard to disagree after you've seen a couple things. Dan in the house. Uncle Dan, I really wish you would start your YouTube channel up again. There have only been about 79,000 cases of COVID in Sweden out of 10 million people. Americans at 4.3 million. Come on, brother. Okay, Brian, here's the thing. Brian, if you send me a link that has actual data from verified sources, I will read them. I have no problem with changing my position on something. For example, my original position was that Trump hadn't really done anything fascistic, and I reversed that position once I got more information. So I'm not married to Sweden dropping the ball on the COVID thing. If you get some data, then let me know the data, and then we'll talk about it. No, Jesus was not a socialist. I don't think you can pigeonhole Jesus into any political theory, but he certainly was not a capitalist. Why don't you state that you hate America too? Because I don't hate America. Recognizing the flaws in your country doesn't mean you hate your country. It means you want your country to be better. So I want America to be better, but I don't hate my country. I could never hate my country. So there's that. Ben, you can't change people's minds. No, that's true. You can change people's mind. Do you disagree with capitalism? Why? I disagree with unfettered laissez-faire capitalism because I think it creates a predatory. It creates a predatory culture that needs a permanent slave class in order for the economy to work. I also disagree with unfettered Marxism because it creates statism. So I don't believe that we have found the solution yet, but I think we all need to come to work together. And my thing is to demonize one particular economic system and not look at the positives. I think Marxism has a lot of net positives for the human experience that I think capitalism misses and vice versa. And I think the way that we're going to get to the best of all possible economic systems is to recognize the virtues and vices in our various systems and work together to combine them to make the best one possible. So that's my perspective. Then you need to react to Pantera's 13 steps and drag the waters. Drag the waters. I don't know. Have we done that? Marxism has positives. Yes, it does have positives because in Marxism, you become aware of the fact that America has always had a slave class in order to allow its capitalist structure to stand, whether it's the transatlantic slave trade, whether it's the 13th Amendment after that, whether it's paying prisoners 10 cents an hour, whether it's a prison industrial complex that incentivizes states to have prisons and then fill them, whether it's Apple, Walmart, Victoria's Secret, all these people using the slave labor of the prison system, whether it's us outsourcing child slavery to overseas to kids in sweatshops, There's never been a time in American society where our society has not been buttressed and upheld by some form of slave labor. And I think until people recognize that, we're not going to really make the progress that's necessary. Did you see the winter pics I sent to you? Yes, I put them up on my Instagram. People are people no matter what economic system you'll have, rich and poor. Middle class is only about 200 years old. That is true. And I think, Donald brings up a good point that the middle class is only 200 years old. Like, think about for however long human beings have been running around on this ball that we call the earth. It just so happened that 200 years ago, we figured out how to create a middle class. So my thing is that we're not done. We can we can refine economies more. I don't think you're ever going to eliminate poverty totally, probably not. But we can continuously create, we can brainstorm together and create structures where we no longer have a slave class and where we can continue to improve the lives of the people around us. And I think that that's important. What about America's use of child laborers? You're absolutely right. The Breaker Boys, I've talked about that a lot, the Breaker Boys and all the horrible things that was happening. You putting 7-year-old kids in mines, having these kids work buck naked and all the rest of it. I mean, this is slave labor. And it wasn't the laissez-faire capitalists who were crusading to get these kids out of these mines and have some child labor laws, for God's sake. It wasn't the capitalists who were trying to get these kids out of that situation. So we just got to look at this stuff as honestly as we can, so that we can get to where we need to get to. Do you think that a country that has made a great job of managing capitalism, an example for the U.S.? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that question means. Marxism is not the answer in any way, shape, or form. Well, I don't know if Marxism is not the answer in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure that that's true. On the other hand, Marx got it wrong about capitalism. Just look at the Scandinavian countries. I guess it's possible to read whatever you'd want into Marx's words. Capitalistic base with a very strong social buffer. I'm with that, Donald, so long as we eliminate the necessity for a slave labor underclass that we've always had. What is a slave class? Well, we just explained the slave class to you. One was the transatlantic slave trade. Then after that, you had the 13th Amendment, which made the prison population a slave class. Then pre-post-industrial revolution, we had children working in mines. Then once we got the children liberated from the mines, we outsourced the child labor and child slavery out to the Philippines and China and sweatshops, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? That's the slave class that has always upheld the capitalist superstructure. So that's what I'm talking about. Sorry, do you watch Alex Hefner?
No. I've only seen it a couple times when Vin puts it on.
I think
it's funny. It's because I'm wearing the shirt.
It's the shirt.
Yeah.
Sorry in the house.
What's up, Zombieholic? I'm good. My throat is extremely sore from trying to work on these vocals.
How much progress do you think you've made?
I don't know. I think that I was trying to record some of it so that way we could send it to the group. But by the time I decided to start recording, my throat was just too like. Ugh.
How do you get the job done without the slave class? I think we can. I think we can. I think it's going to take some radical societal reorientation, but I think it can be done. I was asking the members of the band if they were cool with putting up Peter's 34-second clip. You have a headache? Oh, I think that's okay. Did you get my? Say? Did you get my 7? They said they were good.
Yeah, Anthony, I think I did.
I don't know what. Half an hour, guys. Half an hour. Half an hour. And then we got to do main stage for tomorrow, right? Because we released 3 songs today.
Yeah, the kids are.
Wow.
Wanting to see us.
Slamonizer. Oh, jeez, baby. You put Slamonizer. It's Solomonizer or something like that.
I just copy and pasted it from YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, I copied and pasted it from Jay's video. Why is it wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. Use slave class equals robots. I'm not actually necessarily against that. I think we could make that happen.
I probably should have kept some of the.
Is Hefner in the house? You recorded it?
I kept recording and
On
then
Garage?
deleting. Yeah, I kept recording and deleting.
So you only have one?
I didn't even. The only thing that I have is the singing part that I just happened to leave on there. It's not. There's nothing here. I kept deleting it because I thought I was going to do it a bunch more times, but then like my voice feels like. Really
Where is Alex? I don't see Alex. Where is he? At the same time, slave cast means employees. Now jobs. I don't know what that means, NDEF fan.
Yeah, sarcast.
If you agree with the forced mask mandate, will you agree with the COVID vaccine mandate? Well, there is no forced mask mandate. Like nobody's arresting anybody in Maine for not wearing a mask. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Brian. Big homie Dan. You taking calls? I have something I want to chat with you about. Well, yeah, I mean, even if I'm not taking calls, if you call me, I'll pick it up.
Would you say that too?
That's Big homie Dan. Fascism and UFOs. Time to watch Iron Sky. I mean, we're entering fascist USA, man. That's for sure, and it's a pretty crazy situation. I have a no fear policy, so I don't operate in fear, but it's definitely an alarming situation to see people defending fascism. That's for sure. Let me log in here. Well, Dan, this phone is about to die because I'm at 3 minutes, but I'll pick it up anyway. Give me a second. Big homie Dan.
Anthony, yes, I have it in here. You didn't tell me what the name of the song was. You just told me it was Seven Dust, so I'm putting it in YouTube to see what comes up.
Hey, can you hear me?
The Wait, I'm guessing is the name of the song.
What's going on, big homie Dan? Talk to me.
Not a whole lot. My favorite coffee skinned brother.
Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. What's up, man?
Yeah, no cream. Yeah, not a whole lot, bro. Not a whole lot. Just a couple of questions for you with some stuff to do with COVID. So what do you reckon is going to happen with like this second wave? Do you think the politicians are going to use this as a reason to enforce martial law in certain states? And do you think, like, obviously, I think there's going to be some pretty serious ramifications economically for the virus, but I think there's going to be some pretty serious political ones too, in terms of whether they're going to take back, as much of the leeway that you guys have, like particularly being as liberal on the gun front and things like that. Do you think they're going to try and use this as a reason to maybe take away some of the freedoms that Americans enjoy?
I don't think you have to be in America to understand the American emotional devotion to the firearm, to guns. I mean, think about this. The CDC is saying, hey, if you put on a mask and socially distance about 6 feet, you can mitigate spreading the virus to others. And even that, Americans are saying, screw this, they're trampling our rights, they're turning this into the mark of the beast, blah, 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 blah. So
Americans can't hold off on protesting, for a couple of months while this kind of kills itself out. Like the whole reason, like the entirety of Victoria, one of the states in Australia, and Melbourne is on full lockdown because they got 400 COVID cases a day due to the Black Lives Matter protests a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So now they're having a second wave and they're completely cut off from the rest of the country because people were fucking idiots and didn't adhere to what they needed to adhere to,
Yeah.
Just because power to the people.
Right. So
stupidity.
The gun thing is the gun thing is off limits. There's no way that would never happen. for me, I honestly, Trump and the right seems to be, we need to reopen everything. We need to send the kids back to school, even though Trump's kid is not going back to school because his school is not opening. But Nancy DeVos and all these other people telling the common riffraff in America, send your kids back to school. I have no idea what's going to happen. To be honest with you, I can't call it. I can't predict it. Because we send these kids back to school and there's a massive outbreak with their parents because kids seem to do...
as soon as I see cases in my state, mate, my kids are getting pulled out of school.
100%.
As soon as I see cases up here again, I've got a young fella, my 10-year-old, he suffers from real bad asthma. So it's not worth the risk.
100%. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, obviously, we homeschool our kids, so, we don't have a dog in the fight, but Maine, like I said, I just lost somebody that I loved pretty dearly in this apartment complex here. The kid was only 25 years old. And that one hurt pretty bad. So, I have no idea. What I do know is that Americans, we were born and bred in rebellion against authority. And even when the authority is trying to help us, there just seems to be this sort of maniacal resistance to it because Americans just don't like the concept of being told what to do. And
just inherently rebellious.
And then on top of that, when you add all of the, the people who've gotten their doctorate in epidemics from Facebook University and YouTube University, people who have no education whatsoever in these fields are waxing eloquent and telling us this is fake and that is fake and yada 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 and don't have any data. We're at a place now that I don't think we've ever been in human history. During the Black Plague, if a group of people showed up and said, "Hey, we know how to stop this, we know how to mitigate this, you need to do X, Y, and Z," people would have been like, "Holy shit, okay, let's listen, let's figure it out so we can all live." But now you tell people like, "Hey, we're at 149,000 deaths in America." They go, "So what about the flu?" And then you tell them, well, 38,240 people died last year because of the flu. So that's 4 times as much in 3 less months. It doesn't affect them. They don't care. So I don't know, man.
Do you feel like the American brain is inherently, like, do you think common sense isn't real common over there?
I'm a lover of my country, Dan. You know that.
No. Just serious question.
I'm a lover of my country.
I understand, but the feeling I get, and I don't just mean your country, over here too, particularly in Melbourne, like, people just seem like that they think it's fake. They think it's a big hoax and a big fucking joke. And people are dying because of other people's fucking stupidity.
It's true.
I look.
Here's one thing I'll say.
If someone in my family, right, I'll be honest, if someone in my family was going out and doing all this stupid shit, flying around, putting themselves at risk, and then trying to come to my house to see my kids, they get told to fuck off.
100%.
Like, I don't understand. And now there's people getting on TV over here going, "Oh, we're Australian citizens too. You can't keep us locked up in Victoria." Well, don't go and protest, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, and look, I think there's a difference between being ignorant and being stupid, right? Like I said in my last Middle America video, like, I have no problem saying I was ignorant about this fact here and here. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant because none of us are God, which means all of us are ignorant about something. I think the difference between ignorance and stupid is when you're ignorant on purpose. That's a stupid person. A stupid person is a person who is ignorant on purpose. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. And I really, because, I try to apply logic and history and all this stuff, but there's nothing that we can compare this to historically because
No, we don't have the data.
Right. We don't have the data. And on top of that, historically, we did not have a social media apparatus where people who were unqualified to make these pronouncements make them with so much confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, look, a lot of the, whole terror freak out thing is happening on your Twitters and your Facebook and your Instagrams. Look, a lot of the people in the chat seem to think that I'm anti-protest. Look, I am not anti-protest whatsoever. If we didn't have protest, we wouldn't have democracy.
Correct.
I'm not anti-protest at all. I'm anti-protest during a fucking pandemic.
Well, I'll tell you. So Sori. So I don't even get to go to the hospital for Sori's checkups, because she's pregnant, which is absolutely killing me. Because I've done it for every single one of my kids, especially the big ultrasound one at the 5-month mark. That was killing.
I've been meaning to tell you too. I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm getting girl vibes, bro.
Yeah, but it's a boy.
It's a boy.
We got confirmation, mashallah. But so it's killing me to not be able to go there. But but anyway, so my wife says, hey, can we take part in the protests and all that? And the doctor's like, well, they're very, very important. They're very important. She goes, and if you have to go, then you should go. And so Sori was like, yeah, but what would you recommend? And of course the doctor was like, hell no, I don't want you to go over there. I had the BLM folks had scheduled me to speak because I ended up speaking 4 years ago, and they're like, please come speak, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I just decided against it, man.
You're a smart dude.
I just decided against it. And they were taking precautions. They had their masks and all the rest of it. And the speakers had a segmented place where they could go up and all that. But I was just like, why? For what? The movement is not gonna stand or fall with me.
I mean, you can take all the precautions you want. You can wear all the masks and the gloves and all that shit. But the simple fact is, an airborne virus is going to spread. You're not going to stop it completely. Yeah, you can sort of mitigate the numbers, but you're not going to stop it completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get that many people together, someone's going to do something stupid, or yeah.
Horrible situation we're all in. But I'm glad you're safe, and I'm glad you're doing good.
Yeah, no, we're all good, man. Everything's okay where I am at the moment. In my state, there's no new cases at the moment because our state was smart enough to shut the borders and keep them shut. The states that reopened the borders
you gotta
are struggling.
You got to give Trump that, because Trump was shutting stuff down. December, January, he was shutting down travel from all over the place. And of course, everybody was saying he was a racist and a terrible person for it. But, I give Trump credit where it's due, man.
Yeah. And look, I think everywhere needs to shut their borders. Everywhere. Every country needs to close their borders and, stay the fuck inside, man. Stay inside. Play Monopoly with your kids, just stay the fuck home.
Fortnite, Madden, there's a lot of things you can do. All right, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Love you. I'm glad you're doing well, my guy.
Take it easy.
Salam lech. That's my guy. Mr. Pogmore. That's not what corporatism means. I think there's a debate about what's happening in corporatism. Donald's going at it with BM fan. Two of my favorite people. That would be an interesting debate. Vin, when should we realistically expect Covers Week or a new Rockathon? Amy Lee, there's a particular band that I'm waiting for. They've got a Metallica cover. And literally, Covers Week would have been done 4 months ago if it weren't for this band. Are you still taking calls, or is it too late? No, man, take a call.
Realistically, though, I think that Covers Week is going to happen when we're on maternity leave. I think it's going to be something we pre-record and release.
That's if they can get us that song. There's a certain band that I'm waiting for.
Yeah, but I mean, we could always do that one at another point, too.
Inshallah. But I want to feature them because that'd be a good advertisement for their band. Ian in the house.
Hello.
Salam alaikum. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm okay. You guys okay?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Doing good. What about you?
Well, sorry.
You're all right.
I'm stinky because we're at 198 beats per minute in this song that we're writing. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
You don't play around. This is metal here. We don't play around.
Some of my favorite human beings all just collaborating together. It's going to be epic.
Got to be epic or disappointing. Either way. It'll be epic either way.
Well, I disagree that it'll be disappointing. You know, like it's like when you go to when you go to the school to listen to your nephew and niece sing, and even if it's a train wreck, you love that they're doing it. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's always entertainment in it.
Is there tremolo picking? Yes, there is tremolo picking. Stop with Snoopy. Of course.
Of course, it's Vin. Well, if I may get serious for a moment, I wanted to weigh in on some of the issues that's being discussed. And maybe give a British slant on it, because I'm finding it very hard to not sink into misanthropy. I'm trying to keep hold of my Ian positivity, but oh my God, people are just hard to cope with at the minute, right? So first thing I wanted to weigh in on is the whole Sweden thing, because I just don't get it. Their whole policy from minute one was herd immunity, which, by the way, was Boris Johnson's original plan. And then with the absolute abhorrent backlash that he got, it's like oh well, no, we're going to lock down. But now they're just doing it all over again. They've just learned their lesson from before to not call it herd immunity, and it's very frustrating to me. But Sweden is an example of what not to do, because they have the highest death rate on the planet per capita. I don't understand why people are looking at this as a good thing. And you said it multiple times and sourced articles that prove this. Do a Google search of deaths per capita on the planet, and it'll come up with various sources that corroborate this. I just don't get it, man.
I don't understand it. I'm trying to keep an open mind. So if somebody can get me some data, that would be great but everything that I'm reading about Sweden is that the experiment failed miserably, and of course, as is usually the case, it's the good people of Sweden have had to bear the brunt of the fallout of their government's mishandling of the situation. I just think when it comes to human lives, like, that's not the time to do a social experiment. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%. However, I disagree with the terming it as an experiment.
Yeah.
In a fucked up sort of way, Sweden are just more honest about what the oligarchs in most countries want to do. It's just a lot of them have the political nous to knock it.
And that is the death of my phone, but never fear.
Did you say this one could be a main stage?
I think that could be a main stage. People have been asking that ever since we did the first Tool song, or the first not Tool, but the other band that he did. Oh, I'm looking for Skype here. Did you delete Skype?
No.
I was telling them how cool it is that you're my friend, because there he is, Ian. Okay, so boop.
You literally have no clue where you're going to go with the rest of that sentence.
Oh, no, I was talking about the book. Don't mention the name of the book.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So we drink hot tea with a lot of honey. It protects your vocal cords.
Yeah, I could go for some of that right now. I used to have a thing that put out hot water right in my room. It was awesome.
Look at Sori's mistrustful face. Somebody tell Ian I'm trying to call him, because my other phone died. 9.1 million die yearly from starvation. All lives matter. TB is more dangerous than COVID-19. Tuberculosis is more dangerous than COVID-19. Okay. All right. So the United States of America last year 754 people died of tuberculosis in the entire year. We had 9,000 cases and 700 deaths of tuberculosis last year. Again, guys, we're at 149,000 deaths in less than a year. Yes, Anthony, your reaction will be done very, very soon.
What we do is we do them in order of how we receive them. That's why we always tell people, go through PayPal. So I'm pretty sure you went through PayPal, so that puts you faster in there. I guess that's a weird way of saying that.
Contra. What's up, Ben? I keep studying the good book. Could you explain why God made Pharaoh send his army after Moses? I mean, the guy had already let him go, didn't he? There's a lot of ways to answer that question. One is that he just wanted to destroy Pharaoh and his armies because Pharaoh was an unbelievably evil despot. And so that's one way to answer it. The other way to answer it is to say the term hardened his heart. What does that mean? So there's one view that says when God hardens a person's heart, what God is doing is actively creating fresh or new evil in the heart of a person that makes them do something that they otherwise would not have done. That's what hardening the heart means to some people. There's another view, which is a view that I hold, which says that human beings are already born with hardened evil hearts that are almost limitless in its capacity for doing evil. And that God's role in the heart of every single human being, believer or not, is that God actively works to soften that heart, to restrain them from doing the evil that they otherwise would do. And so this explains why I, as a believer in original sin, do not see the entire world explode into a giant explosion of blood and guts, because God is actively restraining the evil in the hearts of human beings. But there are some people where God removes that restraint and allows them to exercise the evil that they want to exercise. And that process of removing the restraint results in the hardening of the heart. And so from that perspective, God didn't make Pharaoh do anything. It simply meant that God took away the restraints that he had in Pharaoh's heart, which then resulted in Pharaoh going out and expressing that evil in this sort of murderous, maniacal rage that resulted in his destruction. What's really interesting is when the children of Israel go into the promised land, there's this prostitute named Rahab, and Rahab begins to help the Israelites, and the Israelites say, well, why are you helping us? And then they said, well, and Rahab says, well, all of us have heard what your God did to Pharaoh. And remember, Pharaoh was a stand-in God for the sun god. He was the image of the sun god on the earth, which means that Yahweh was stronger than Pharaoh as well as the sun god, which is why one of the plagues was that he blotted out the sun, because he was showing his superiority over the sun god Ra. So anyway, when they're going into the promised land 45-ish years later, Rahab says, we're all scared to death of you because we all heard about what your God did to the Egyptians, drowning them in the sea. And then she said, please have mercy on me and my family. And so they said, yep, we're going to go and have mercy on you and your family. So they go in, they take the promised land, and this woman gets to stay in the promised land, and she gets to live. And what ends up happening is, if you jump all the way over to the New Testament, this woman actually ends up in the lineage of Christ, which means that Pharaoh's hardening actually was one of the trillion things that God used to bring Jesus into the world. And so, from a biblical perspective, God has a plan that's overarching, that has trillions of moving parts. And sometimes he shows mercy to some, and he overcomes the maniacal craziness of their hardened hearts. And other people who are just in love with death and destruction, God says, okay, fine, I'll stop bothering you. And when God stops bothering you, then you end up at the bottom of the Red Sea, or the Yam Suf, which is not necessarily the Red Sea. So that's not a Reader's Digest answer, but it's the best I could give you. So that's the answer to that question, or my answer to that question.
Okay, do you have the charger?
Did you see the winter pics that Kai sent to you? What winter pics is he talking about?
No.
Did Bambi's mother get killed during that 45 years in the desert? Yeah. Yeah, she caught an L. Yes, I will call again. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, Tiwaz. God knows who you are, but you don't know who he is, ultimately. None of us do, because he's an eternal being. But I've seen God deal with people enough to know that he always has good intentions. What's going on, Ian?
Hey, I don't know, I've been informed that your phone died. I was like, what happened? I don't understand.
I called back. What's up, brother?
How far did I get? Did you hear any of what I was saying?
Yeah, we were talking about how, these you were saying that it's not a social experiment that happened over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, to expand on that, it's I believe it's what a lot of the oligarchs in a lot of countries wishes they could have done, but didn't because of the backlash they would have received or the consequences of it. But I know for sure that it was Boris Johnson's original plan for Britain was to have herd immunity, and I'm very glad it didn't go that way.
Yeah. Are you saying that the elites kind of did this as a population control type mechanism? Is that the most cynical version of what you were saying, or?
No, I don't think it's anything that elaborate, if I'm honest. I believe it's something much more mundane. In order to take precautions that would have an effect at limiting COVID would cost the country money, whereas to have herd immunity is just to let it spread rampant, therefore to do nothing, therefore to cost nothing.
Oh, I see.
I think it boils down to being that simple, quite frankly.
Jeez. Well, look, shutting down, even as late and as lackadaisical as our administration made it happen, had disastrous effects on our economy. So I definitely see where you're coming from, for sure.
Well, it was originally Boris Johnson's plan for Britain, and he got incredible backlash. But the problem with herd immunity is that in order for it to be an effective measure and to work, it needs to have a 70% infection rate. And the reason for that is because the way herd immunity works is that enough people get it enough times that they develop antibodies to the point where something like 70% of the population have the necessary antibodies to therefore not become infectious, then the majority of people that may come in contact with COVID will therefore catch it. So it eventually dies out because it can't find new hosts, basically.
Right.
But like I say, it requires a 70% infection rate, which is absolutely nightmarish when you have something like COVID that kills people, because you're going to end up with an awful lot of dead bodies. But I'll finish that point at that, because there's actually a couple of points I wanted to make, if I may.
Sure.
And the other thing I wanted to, I'm going to make a sort of bigger political point, because I disagree with Dan when he said, I agree with most of what he said, but the thing I disagree with when he says, well, if you've got an airborne virus, it's going to spread, it's inevitable. But it doesn't have to be, because with everything that we know now, right, that the incubation period for COVID-19 is up to 14 days. There is enough wealth in both my country and your country and most developed first world countries, let's be honest, to go 14 days of a lockdown. And if every country had followed the example of New Zealand, for example, that shut their country down when they had, oh God, I'd have to look it up. Forgive me for my terrible memory of stats. But I believe it was 13 cases, but it was like less than 20. It was a small number. And they made an announcement to their citizens saying, look, we know we've only got 13 cases, but so did Italy once. And their response was absolute lockdown. So the sort of bigger picture point I'm trying to draw from this is it's very, very interesting to me that the countries that have been hit the hardest by COVID are generally the ones that are the most dependent upon capitalism. And global capitalism at that.
That's an interesting angle. Because like I said, the meager shutdown that happened in America, honey, this tuner's all like over. The meager shutdown that happened in America has crushed our economy for sure. And no, because it's under the thing. I mean, you can just wait a couple minutes because I got 5 minutes left. Yeah, so the meager shutdown actually wrecked our economy. So if we did a proper shutdown, knowing there's certain elements in our country, let me say it that way, that, I mean, I don't know if you heard where one of these dudes jumped on Fox News and basically said, look, man, older people have had their run, so we can't kill the economy. So, hey, if we open the economy up again and a bunch of old people die, it is what it is. This is unbelievable stuff. These are supposedly the pro-life right here happening.
Anthony, I'm editing tomorrow's shows.
It's unbelievable. But the last point I want to make, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to I know you're limited on time and I'm trying to drop through the points I wanted to weigh in on. But I'm going to kind of collect myself because I'm getting emotional, right? So I have decided to not engage in conversations with people online when it comes to COVID, because today I had a moment of I could not respond gracefully, and I sent a comment that lit the person in question up, and I called them a fucking idiot. And I'm not going to mention their name. Yeah, I'm not going to mention their name. I stand by my comment because they were a fucking idiot. The reason I deleted it is because, well, it wasn't very gracious, and I realized that because I couldn't respond with grace, that I wasn't going to respond. But it was basically along the lines of this whole COVID is a conspiracy bullshit. And I'm like, you yourself have known people who have died of COVID. Now, I am lucky that no one particularly close to me has died of COVID. But my friend Manwara will likely never breathe unaided again, because while she survived COVID, she has permanent respiratory damage.
Yeah.
And I have literally zero patience for this conspiratard nonsense. I can't stand it, because it's the living epitome of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like, no, let's not listen to the scientists or the doctors or the virologists or the epidemiologists or all of the experts in their field that had to study for like nearly a decade to get a degree to get to where they are. No, because Joe Blog from Facebook said so. And it's just like, come on, guys. It's just maddening to me. But an extension of that, which ties me back to my opening of why I'm trying to fight misanthropy at the minute, is like this whole pandemic has just exposed the selfishness of people. Because in Britain, as of next week, as of Monday next week, it is the government have issued a rule 3 months too late, if you ask me, but it will now be mandatory to wear masks in public transport and shops. That's right. That's how fast acting we are. It starts of Monday. But the backlash that's happening is just insane to me, because again, just like the Sweden thing, with a 2-minute Google search, you can see the peer-reviewed scientific evidence of the effectiveness of masks. Now, they're extremely limited with their ability to stop you from catching COVID, but it's extremely good at catching.
It's helping you not spread it.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
The thing that makes it the thing that makes me so mad is that, like, I am very conscientious and I always wear a mask anywhere I can't socially distance. But when I'm surrounded by people not wearing masks, I'm doing my part, but it's so limited in protecting the spread. All my wearing a mask as an individual means that if I have it, I'm limiting my ability to spread it. But in order for me to not catch it and therefore not transfer it to my 72-year-old mother, I need everyone else to not be wearing masks.
Well,
and this whole,
my dad and I mean, most of you guys have heard millions of stories about my mom. I don't think I've ever talked about my dad. So he and I don't have a very good relationship. He's in Florida. He's 77 years old. Florida has the biggest outbreak in COVID in the last month. And so I'm just now like reconnecting with my dad. And now I have this, you know what I mean? I'm like, I got some dude in Florida who probably doesn't give a shit about my dad or whatever. And my dad's got a shop at Walmart. I mean, he's doing everything he possibly can to kind of isolate. And I told him, I'm like, Dad, just stay home and I'll get you your groceries from, Amazon. I'll have them delivered to your house on a regular basis. He's like, I'm not going to make you do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insane. And, so like, but like Ian, there's always been kind of a theme in these fireside chats when I talk about being a collectivist versus being an individualist. And a situation like this is like one of the most obvious, in my opinion, weaknesses of a radical individualist worldview. Because it's like, I'm not sick or I am healthy, so fuck everybody else. It's like I as an individual, my personal freedoms, yada yada. It's every time you hear it, it's about me, and my personal freedom. And it's like, well, what about your community? What about the collective of people that you need as a society to, live together and all that? Is that not important? But it's not important if you've been imbibing this individualist mindset all your life.
100%. But even as an individualist, I'm going to pile on this because I want to make a significant point, and I'm putting this out there into the ether for people to hear. You do not have the right to not wear a mask in a pandemic. In just the same way that if you save up and buy yourself a car and you put yourself through your driving test and you get yourself a driving license, no one can tell you you're not allowed to drive that car, right? It's your right. It's your car. You put yourself through your test. But I tell you what, your right to drive that car stops the instant that you become drunk or stoned or take cocaine. That's why we have laws that say you cannot drive your car while you're intoxicated. Why? Because it endangers the lives of others. Now that we have scientific evidence that there is a pandemic being spread through water droplets in the vapor through breath, that's how it's airborne. It's not actually an airborne virus, technically, because airborne viruses can literally float through the air. It spreads through contact or bodily fluids, which includes the vapor from one's breath. That's the biggest point I want to make, is that these people are just like whining and bitching about their rights. Like, I have no time for it, because not only is it like implicitly selfish, it's also incredibly stupid, because you don't have the right to endanger other human beings. Like, that's why we have laws. You have the right to swing a baseball bat and hit a baseball, but your right to swing that baseball bat ends the minute that someone's head's in the way. That's assault.
Yeah. And
you see the point I'm trying to make.
Oh,
so I literally, sorry, and then I'll let you go. I'll reiterate it. I in my worldview, you do not have the right to not wear a mask when you're in a public space. I'm sorry.
I'm absolutely with you. And, to me, this is about a consistent pro-life ethic. Being pro-life is about being pro-all life. And you cannot call yourself pro-life and then say, man, fuck those people. I have individual liberty. Screw everybody else. So I'm with you 100%. I am.
I agreed. And the final thing I'll say before I'll go, because I'm aware of time, is the thing that's even more frustrating on top of everything I've mentioned is the fact that the anti-vaxxers are now raising their heads all over again. Except now it's not about MMR and autism. No. It's about Microsoft and implant chips and fuckery, but none of them have one iota of evidence. It's speculation and nonsense. And there's this huge, I mean, you must have seen it online. There's these huge contingencies of people that are saying like, oh, they're going to make the virus mandatory. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to be very onion-like, but like, yes, fucktard, you're proving why it needs to be mandatory. The fact that you're against it means that the fact that the anti-vaxxers exist is evidence for why vaccines should be mandatory. And forgive me if I'm being all totalitarian, but that's my view.
Well, it's like I say all the time, in the boogies, right? The law is for the lawless. You wouldn't need a law if you would do the right thing without compulsion. The reason we need laws is because people won't do the right thing without compulsion. And, now we're in a situation, but, and this opens a whole other ball of wax. But this is one of these situations where I can do whatever I want with my body is coming home to roost. Because what you're saying is your body autonomy is limited to what happens when you affect another person, an innocent person. And I agree. But there's a lot of, honey, do not put that in the thumbnail at all.
Why?
Do not put that in the thumbnail at all. I'm not even joking. Back to our regular scheduled program. This is one of those issues, right? Where people they think freedom means the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. And it doesn't matter what happens to other people. And I think one of the things that needs to happen in the Western world is that we need to rethink what freedom actually means. Because if you define freedom that way, then it's so easy to caricature and characterize governments and experts and things like that as being, impinging on your freedom and all the rest of it. When the fact of the matter is that these folks in these governments, the CDC and these other places, are trying to save lives. Nobody joins the CDC to say, I'm going to put out a bunch of false information so people will have to wear masks. Like, are you serious? Like, you think these people went to school for all these years so that they could do some silliness? Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. It's completely irrational to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you get from A to B. But we're definitely in interesting times, and you're a jewel in the community. I'm going to pray for you, Ian, because you need some prayer, brother. But
yeah, I'm being a bit onion-like at the minute, but I'm just so sick of people's bullshit. And the final straw on top of everything is I'm so sick of walking around and seeing nasty ass gloves and discarded masks and people's refuse everywhere. And it's just like, how selfish do you have to be to wear a disposable mask, take it off, and then just drop it at your feet? I mean, like, really? I mean, I agree with you 100%. I am a collectivist and a passionate one at that. Like, we've had many conversations on this issue, but like, just it's becoming, over the past few weeks, it's become hard to not become misanthropic. I'm trying, but oh my god, people are just. I'm gonna stop before I get myself in trouble. But yeah, it doesn't help when you have like serious, like, diagnosed depression that you're having, trying to like not sink beneath the waves of, and then you go to the shop to get some milk for your mum because she's a 72-year-old, and you get there and there's like 10 people in the shop and none of them are wearing masks, and you're just like, oh. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there while I'm ahead.
All right, buddy. Love you, mate. You're getting a lot of love in that comment section, by the way. People are supporting you, so we got your back, buddy.
All right. Much love to everyone in the village. I love all of you guys. And yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you for letting me call in. I wanted to weigh in on some of the topics raised.
No doubt.
Yeah, anyway, thanks very much, and I love you guys. Love you too, Sorry. I hope everything's okay with the little sprog. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys.
Love you, man.
Sorry?
I said everything's good.
Sweet. All right, love you guys. Take care.
Bye,
For sure. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, this is a clash of worldviews, and and I'm talking about on the left and the right. I'm being intentionally vague because I don't want to create a giant, you know, kerfluffle, because I'm trying to work on just setting things on fire. But this whole idea that I can do whatever I want with my body, my choice. Okay, well, if you apply that logic across the board, this is what you get. And I actually saw some of these Michiganders, these Michigan protest people with these signs, my body, my choice. So I can choose whether or not to put a mask on my body. I can choose whether or not to put certain immunizations in my body or not. How can you argue against it?
Well, I mean,
what are you going to say? You're going to say, well, your choices are affecting negatively the bodies of other people. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
You want to apply that across the board? That's got some implications.
You don't want to wear your mask. You don't want to do all that stuff.
It's got
Stay in your house.
It's got some implications, doesn't it? Or are we going to act like these things are completely disconnected and unrelated to each other? That the same mentality isn't there. It's there. Believe me. Vin has to make it about my body again. No reason to make it personal. Vin, can you speak patois? Yes. Yes.
What's that?
Patois is, you know, when my mom says it's patois. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Maybe if we punch those people in the face, they'll have to wear masks to hide the bruises. I mean, I don't what about aliens, extraterrestrial, Aluzia? What do you have, buddy? You know, I'm not a fan of the violent reactions, but I do think that.
Where are you going?
I'm charging this phone. I do think that the people who refuse to mask should pay some sort of social consequences. I just don't believe that they should be physical social consequences. And the other thing is like attacking somebody, assaulting somebody for not wearing a mask literally defeats the purpose. Mm-hmm. Because that guy is more likely to spread with his bodily fluids being excreted in a fight. He's more likely to spread COVID than not. So don't put your hands on anybody who's not wearing a mask. How can you not see that it's the mark? Okay, lead artist 420. I'm going to assume because you've got the name 420 that you're just joking and you're just being funny. You can't really believe that this is the mark of the precursor to the mark of the beast. Like, you don't really believe that, do you? Coat slammer. I don't mind wearing a mask. It gives me a pleasant break from wearing the paper bag that cover my ugly mug. Yo, I can't remember where, but there is someone who pepper sprayed someone for not wearing a mask. I believe it. I think the government should just impose a $300 fine. Just a $300 fine. Zombie Holic, I choose to wear a mask, especially since I found out I have heart failure. I'm at risk. And really would be, I wish people would be responsible and wear a mask. Yeah. I'm a big supporter in a $500 fine from the government. You're walking around in public, using public transportation, especially in places like New York City and things like that, where like 70% of the constituency are reliant on public transportation and don't have a choice otherwise. Yeah, man. $500 fine. Not wearing a mask. I'm a big believer in that. You get one warning, and then you get another warning, and then after that, you're paying $500. I really believe that. Because it's just, it's just complete madness, in my opinion.
When you're done, we gotta have a conversation with one of the children.
Oh God, why? What happened?
I'll tell you out there.
BLM is forming a shield wall in Richmond right now, watching the live stream. A shield wall. What are they shielding? You don't want a mask? Okay, no phone or internet access for a week. That would keep them in line. As long as they don't vandalize my shit, I won't pew pew. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the American way, right? How consistent are you, Stout man, with that ethic, that right to life ethic? If we as a society can't achieve wearing a mask because personal comfort is that much important, maybe we don't deserve to survive. I don't know if it's personal. I don't think it's a comfort thing, Sarcast. To me, it's just an ego thing. It's all, to me, it just goes back to the ego thing. That's what it looks like to me.
Whoops.
They're posting up at Monroe Park by the police station is the shield wall is to protect against smoke, gas, whatnot. I see. I got you there, Vin. It's 100% ego. Yeah, I mean, and who likes being told what to do? The thing is, I never looked at it as a government telling me what to do. I looked at it like, you love your neighbor. Mm-hmm. You don't like talk to every third person you see at Walmart, but you generally want them to get home safe and be happy with their families. And I looked at it as a government saying, this is the best way to make sure that your neighbor makes it home and doesn't have a freaking horrible human tragedy in their life. This is a little thing that you can do. That's how I interpreted it. But a lot of people are interpreting this as, you have to do this, or because it's a way that you're showing submission to the government. And when if that is what you're getting from it, I just disagree. I don't think that that's what's happening. I don't think that that's what the government is trying to tell us. Finally, you are on my ego as a reason for everything wrong in the world. Well, I'm a Christian, so yeah. What's up, Liva Fox? Have you heard about Bernal Chamel in Milwaukee? Google him. No, I haven't heard of him yet. In Chile, you have to pay $3,000 if you don't wear a mask in public. Good. Good. Only Americans seem to have this problem. Negative 42% of jobs during the pandemic won't be coming back. Thoughts on the impact to young adults and the families? Yeah, Randall, I think that's horrible. I think it's horrible, and I think it's one of the glaring examples of the weaknesses of the capitalist system. So, yeah. Love you, Ian. Go to bed. Rest well, buddy. Most people don't love their neighbor. What a dreamer. I don't know if most people don't love their neighbor. Make Katie eat a shoe. Who's Katie?
Katya.
Who's Katya?
No.
Hey, Vin, if you have the time one day, check out my worship music on this YouTube channel. May you be inspired and worship through Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah, where is it? Send me the link. Send me the email with the link to your worship channel thing. Hey, Ben Moen in the house, if he's in the house.
Yeah, Anthony. I love that my neighbors leave me alone.
Well, tell us about it. Alusio? I would like to know. Thoughts on the Washington football team? I would love if they keep that name forever, just as a punishment for that awful old name. Yeah, Salah, I thought it was a ridiculous the Washington football team. Like, really? You couldn't come up with something? I mean, I have no idea. I don't wear a mask. I'm at home since March. Hey, Taya Black Rose in the house. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're at home, then yeah, I mean, if you're homebound, I get it. I just saw down under here, went to the shopping center, and one person had a mask on. I feel for America where masks are necessary. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty crazy situation. If the USA goes down, perhaps a good way for Europe to go would be to finally embrace the biggest European country, Russia. Putin will lead us to a golden future. No, I'm not sure if I'm kidding. Hey, can you check out Megatalica's message on? He messaged us on Patreon. Yeah, Megatalica. Should change it to the Washington Cringe Lords. Vin, I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of you too, buddy. The Washington Cringe Lords. How about the Washington COVIDs? Unbelievable. What a world we're in, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Swamp Creatures. The Washington Pilgrims, not the Redskins. I don't think the Pilgrims would be a very good name either. Although, I think the Washington Pilgrims would be like the ultimate, like, little poke in the eye. Mm-hmm. Pilgrim? Russia isn't Europe. Russia's in Europe, though, isn't it? They're not an Asiatic thingy. Vin ruined my jokes. The Washington centrists. The Washington villagers. Yes, the Washington villagers. Inshallah, we'd be able to get a trademark that everybody would get free songs for life. U.S. forcibly closed Chinese embassy here in the States. China responded in kind with U.S. embassy. Is China poised to dominate in the coming century? I don't believe that China is going to dominate in the current century. I don't believe they will. Isn't there a new NFL team in Seattle called Seattle Kraken? No. Vin, heard about the ancient project. Honey, did you get that thing? There's only one thing left for the website to launch. That you remember?
Oh, that list?
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it.
That's what I deal with on a daily basis. SubhanAllah. Vin here in Brazil.
Just
many people see your videos.
Never told me that.
Send us a hug. Much love to Brazil. Thank you guys very freaking much. I appreciate it. We're trying to go on like a really bingey recording schedule here. So once we get a freebie, we'll be able to do some Portuguese band, inshallah.
Honey, it's 11. I'm trying to get the kids in bed for midnight, so it'd be good if you could end it soon so we could see them before they go to bed and then record.
Vin, do you know that there is a military operation going on the past 40 years to take down domestic enemy that infiltrated our government? Trump has been a spy for our military since the 80s. JFK and Jr. also involved. No, I didn't know that. Biker buddy. Tell Brazil they have to wear masks too. I think it's going really bad over there, just like the U.S. Mask up, Brazil, so that we can all rock on when this plague lifts and we can get back to our shows, our metal shows. VNS have to go. Night all. Good fireside, even though we didn't hear anything about the UFOs. It's true. Cat, yeah. Russia is Russia, aka a hot mess. They oppose the EU. Russia's a hot mess. The dude in Brazil is arguably worse than Trump. Yes, Rock in Rio. We need to have Rock in Rio back. That's like one of the first videos we did with Iron Maiden live was Rock in Rio. Vin is trying to indoctrinate us to believe in being kind to your fellow man. It's dangerous rhetoric. Well, I think when you try to view the world through that lens, then a lot of the laws make a lot of sense, right? And then there's a sense in which
Amy Lee Forever, I'm messaging you on Facebook.
There's a sense in which you don't even need law. If everybody operated on the principle of love, which is seeking the best possible outcome for your neighbor, then we wouldn't need any law. We wouldn't need a law that says you can't kill people. We wouldn't need any laws about sexual assault. And we wouldn't need any mandates for mask wearing, because everybody would say, what would be the best way to protect my neighbor? And people would be scrambling. There'd be mask shortages because everybody would be scrambling out of love and concern for their neighbor to get as many masks as possible in order to take care of each other. So laws only come into effect when people are lawless or loveless. The law is for the lawless, or the law is for the loveless. So there you go. What if you don't like your neighbors? Well, then you need a law. If you don't like your neighbor, then you need a law. For sure. All right, guys. I gotta get out of here. As a Christian, why is it not a human condition? Because we're born into sin, and sin makes us selfish. It makes us put the self before the good of the collective. Vin's a Christian humanist, halfway there. Well, humanism just borrowed all of our stuff. So you guys are halfway there. Come over here. We have cookies, and we also have corn. A couple members of corn are Christians. Thank you for the stream. Thanks everybody for hanging out with your brother. Stay safe. Whatever you feel about masks or whatever, here's what I'll tell you, okay? Whatever your position is, can we at least agree that we need to get a position from an informed standpoint? I'm done, but I know you got to go. All right, M. Death Fan, we'll try again tomorrow, inshallah. I'll try to have another one tomorrow. Yeah, maybe you can call. I'm sure you're going to want to call in after M. Death Fan calls me up. Humanism actually was an original Christian idea among Renaissance Catholics. Well, I know Perkinos. I know that, and you know that, but these people don't, to some degree. First time in like ever I watched a full stream. Yeah, and I'll take what you have to say, Tiwaz, into account. Maybe we'll do an earlier one. Earlier is usually when we try to do our recordings and such, but maybe we'll flip the order. We'll see what happens. Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine. I don't know about that, Katya. I don't know. I think you're wrong about that. All right, guys. My only point is, Sella, I knew that you knew that, but there's 95 people in the room, bro. My only point, guys, is if we have a situation where people are literally dying, wouldn't it be wise to get the best data from the people who have been devoting their entire life to that study and that discipline, and then make an informed decision from there? I believe that most of us have enough grace in our hearts to where we want what's good for our neighbor, and we definitely do not want to take part in harming our neighbor. I don't believe that most of us want to harm our neighbor in any way, shape, or form. Most of us want to take care of our neighbor. So that's all I'm saying. And then whatever your decision you make, you got to be able to square with your conscience and the God that you will surely answer to for every decision you've made and every careless word that you've spoken, according to Jesus of Nazareth. And with that, I bid you adieu, beautiful people. We've got some more songs to record. We did 3. We released 3 songs today, or 4?
3, I think.
3. You're gonna release that nasty one at like 11, or you're gonna wait for tomorrow?
I just thought it was gonna be tomorrow, but we can talk about it.
So we're gonna be
2 nasty ones.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, I actually screwed up the thumbnails because they were both gross songs, so I got them mixed up.
Correct. All right, guys. Much love to everybody. I am out of here. End stream kablooey.